Back in January 2022, Mason Greenwood had a promising career ahead of him. A rising star of his generation, he had a bright future at Old Trafford. But when images and videos were shared online, reporting claims of incidents of domestic violence, the Manchester United forward's time on pitch came to a swift halt. The posts went viral. Mr. Greenwood was arrested on suspicion of the rape and assault of a woman on January 30. Manchester United footballer Mason Greenwood has charges against him dropped. A trial by social media began. Twitter and Facebook were awash with speculation. That same day, United said in a short statement, Mason Greenwood will not return to training or play matches until further notice. As Greater Manchester Police continued its investigation, granted further time to question Mr. Greenwood, online, a storm rumbled on. Many expressed their frustrations and lamentations. The following day, Nike announced it was suspending its relationship with Mr. Greenwood. United said fans who had bought replica shirts bearing his name would get a refund. On February 1, Mr. Greenwood was removed from FIFA 22 by EA Sports. The then 20-year-old no longer featured in the popular game. Later that day, he was further arrested on suspicion of threats to kill and sexual assault. GMP's inquiries continued. The force said in a statement the victim continued to be offered specialist support. On the morning of February 2, detectives said Mr. Greenwood had been released on bail pending further investigations. Later that month, Nike confirmed it was ending its sponsorship deal with Mr. Greenwood, telling sports site The Athletic, Mason Greenwood is no longer a Nike athlete. Mr. Greenwood was removed from Football Manager 2022 following a database release. Any player or official serving an indefinite suspension from football, for whatever reason, has been removed from Football Manager in the latest update, a Sports Interactive spokesperson told the Manchester Evening News. If and when that suspension is lifted, the player or official will be reinstated at the next scheduled opportunity, the statement added. With Mr. Greenwood's bail date looking to expire on April 30, police applied to extend it as investigations continued. A bail hearing was set for June. Officers were to apply to the courts for an extension of Mr. Greenwood's bail, in a behind-closed-doors hearing. Following the hearing, on June 23, which was not open to the press or public, Mr. Greenwood's bail remained, with GMP saying it would not provide further updates until the suspect was charged or released facing no further action. All remained quiet for a number of months, save for September 18, when it was revealed that Mr. Greenwood had been removed from the United squad list on FIFA 23. Following almost 9 months of investigation by GMP, on October 17, Mr. Greenwood was charged with attempted rape, engaging in controlling and coercive behavior, and assault occasioning actual bodily harm. The Crown Prosecution Service said the 3 counts related to the same complainant. It added that Mr. Greenwood would appear in court as GMP confirmed he had been arrested, for an alleged bail breach, earlier that day. The CPS reinforced the fact that as proceedings were active, Mr. Greenwood had a right to a fair trial, and that there must be no reporting, commentary or sharing of information online which could, in any way, prejudice proceedings. A mass of journalists, photographers and members of the public congregated at Manchester Magistrates' Court that same day. Tensions were high as members of the press were seated in the public gallery alongside Mr. Greenwood's family. By 10:12 a.m., Mr. Greenwood was brought into the glass dock, flanked by 2 dock officers. Wearing a gray hoodie, a white t-shirt and gray jogging bottoms, he briefly glanced over at his loved ones before as he waited for the hearing to begin. After confirming his identity, the clerk stated the charges: attempting to rape a woman 16 or over on October 22, 2021, engaging in controlling and coercive behavior, and assaulting a person thereby occasioning them actual bodily harm between December 1, 2021 and December 31, 2021. Now charges have been dropped. It can be reported that Mr. Greenwood breached a condition of his bail, not to contact the alleged victim in the case. At the hearing, prosecutor Rebecca Macaulay Addison said, he was arrested on Saturday morning for breaching his police bail. They found him in contact with the complainant. Mr. Greenwood's barrister David Toll admitted the breach, saying it was common knowledge his client had been in contact with the complainant. "I absolutely concede it is his responsibility to abide by all bail conditions imposed," he said. Mr. Toll said contact had been ongoing for many months, claiming it was no secret to GMP, and that Mr. Greenwood believed the force was aware. District Judge Mark Hadfield expressed real concern. He said, he flagrantly breached his bail condition over weeks, if not months. He asked for an explanation. The judge was told by the prosecutor that GMP had found no evidence of bail breaches. Throughout the lengthy hearing, arguments were made by Mr. Toll to grant Mr. Greenwood bail, but DJ Hadfield declined. He remanded him into custody and the case was adjourned to November 21 for a preliminary hearing at Minchell Street Crown Court. The MEN has approached GMP for comment on DJ Hadfield's concerns. The force has not responded. The footballer, who lived in a Cheshire mansion and enjoyed a glamorous career, was to spend his first night behind bars. Hemp Berwyn in Wrexham, the largest prison in the UK, is a million miles from what he was used to. 2 days later, an appeal hearing was held in private. It is not known what was said during that hearing. Mr. Greenwood was granted bail and released later that day from custody. The bail had conditions not to contact witnesses in the case, including the complainant, and to reside at a specified address in Trafford. An Audi was later pictured leaving Hemp Berwyn. Social media was once again awash with amateur commentary, despite the CPS warning. On November 21, Mr. Greenwood appeared at Minchell Street Crown Court for a preliminary hearing. Wearing a black hoodie, his head was down as a clan of photographers took his picture as he arrived alongside his family. He spoke only to confirm his name. No pleas were entered during the brief hearing. A proposed trial date was set for November 27, 2023, with a preliminary hearing to be heard on February 27. Rumors continue to swirl online. On Thursday, February 2, GMP announced criminal proceedings against the now 21-year-old had been discontinued. In a statement, Chief Superintendent Michaela Kerr, GMP's head of public protection, said, "Given the significant media coverage of this case, it is only fair that we share the news that the 21-year-old man, who had been arrested and charged in connection with an investigation opened in January 2022, no longer faces criminal proceedings in relation to this." The investigation team has remained in regular contact with the legal team, providing any updates of note, and so understand the rationale for the discontinuation of proceedings at this stage, and that this decision has not been taken lightly. Despite the media and public's interest in this case, we have decided not to comment on it in any further detail. I would, however, like to use this opportunity to reiterate GMP's commitment to investigating allegations of violence against women and girls and supporting those affected, regardless of their circumstances, throughout what can be a hard and upsetting time for them. An ever-increasing number of officers are receiving specialist training, and the force is more consistently utilizing tools, available via the criminal justice system, to keep people safe and care for victims. If you feel you are or might be a victim, please don't let this case put you off asking for help. A CPS spokesperson said, "We have a duty to keep cases under continuous review. In this case, a combination of the withdrawal of key witnesses and new material that came to light meant there was no longer a realistic prospect of conviction. In these circumstances, we are under a duty to stop the case. We have explained our decision to all parties. We would always encourage any potential victims to come forward and report to police, and we will prosecute wherever our legal test is met." Following the bombshell news, United announced bosses would conduct an internal investigation to determine next steps. The club will now carry out its own process. Mr. Greenwood will remain suspended from training and games until that is finished. United chiefs have not putting a time frame on the investigation, but it is understood Old Trafford officials want to gather a more complete understanding of the circumstances around the allegations. On Thursday evening, Mr. Greenwood released a short statement announcing his relief and thanked his family, friends and loved ones for their support. He said, "I am relieved that this matter is now over, and I would like to thank my family, loved ones and friends for their support. There will be no further comment at this time. What happens now is unclear. The striker's future at the club is unknown." After joining United through the academy aged 6, he debuted as a late substitute in United's 3-1 win against PSG in March 2019 before making his full debut in a home loss to Cardiff 2 months later. He later travelled on both United's 2018 and 2019 preseason tours, but has not played for the club for over a year. What is clear is that it's been a feeding frenzy online. Many have expressed their views on a situation that was never fully aired or explained in open court. While charges were dropped against Mr. Greenwood, and those who made the decision explaining the reasons for doing so, the circumstances might always remain unclear.